You return to the factory, but something feels wrong, too quiet, too empty. The laughter's gone and all that remains are broken toys and whispers in the dark. Then they move, twisted smiles, lifeless eyes. Playtime Co. still breathes. Your mind begins to crack, hallways loop. Voices echo, real or imagined, you can't tell. You run, not just from monsters, but from the truth tearing at your sanity. Then it hits. Poppy lied. She's no savior, she's part of it. Doey appears, broken, soft-spoken, remembering when it all felt good. But science pushed too far. The prototype rose, a god born of failure. And in the end, you weren't the player. You were always the test subject.
The new Poppy Playtime chapter is out, and I think I have figured out how to beat it. Let's go. In Poppy Playtime, Chapter 4. Safe Haven. Survival is no longer just about running from monsters in the shadows. It's a descent into the fragile corners of the human mind, where reality and illusion start to blur. The chapter throws players into a haunting, subterranean section of the factory, where the remnants of abandoned experiments, forgotten toys, and corrupted AI systems whisper constantly like echoes from a nightmare you can't quite wake up from. Here, the prototype looms not just as a physical threat, but as a psychological predator, its voice worming into the player's mind, twisting memories, planting doubt, and warping perception. Every corridor, every flickering light, and every puzzle becomes a test of mental endurance. The factory, once a place of joy and laughter, is now a maze of hallucinations and fractured memories. Walls bleed with the voices of the forgotten, and even your own thoughts begin to betray you. Yarnaby, a cheerful yet unsettling talking yarn creature, constantly shifts between ally and antagonist, blurring the line between friend and foe. You're forced to question, is he helping you, or is he leading you deeper into madness? The grab pack, once a tool of utility, now reacts oddly to your environment, hinting that it too might be compromised, its electric tether sparking erratically, almost as if it senses your doubt. Even Poppy, your once guiding voice of reason, begins to exhibit strange behavior, her tone growing colder, her guidance more cryptic. Paranoia sets in, and trust becomes a luxury you can no longer afford. What makes Chapter 4 so chilling is that the greatest danger is not the deformed toys waiting in the dark. It's the gnawing sense that you are slowly losing your grip on reality. The deeper you go, the more the factory feels alive, sentient, and deeply resentful. Whispering vents, moving walls, and puzzles that reset themselves add layers of confusion. At one point, you find yourself running in circles, literally. Every door leads back to the same room until you stop, close your eyes, and realize the exit isn't physical. It's mental. To survive, you must fight the instinct to panic, to flee, and instead confront the truth buried beneath the horror. This factory was never abandoned. It became something else, something that thrives off fear and fragments of the human mind. You see, in previous chapters, we've mostly focused on the physical threats, the monsters, the chase sequences. But Chapter 4 demands a different kind of courage. The kind that lets you stare into the abyss of your own mind and not blink. You're being hunted, yes, but the hunter is as much a part of you as it is out there in the shadows. By the final moments of the chapter, you've essentially dismantled your own fears, your own doubts, and the whispers that have been chipping away at your sanity. That's why the ending hits so hard. It's not just about escaping the physical threat, it's about reclaiming your own mind. The final battle isn't with a monster, it's with the hollowness within. Now let's talk about some of the early parts of the game, because there are some really interesting things going on. For example, the iconic red shoes. They show up again, don't they? They symbolize a past self, a happier time before the darkness consumed this place. But here's the twist. Those shoes could also represent a false memory, a ghost from the facility's past that the corrupted AI is showing you to distract you, to lead you astray. Throughout the chapter, you'll find recordings of interviews with people who worked at the factory, people who seem to be discussing the very same prototype you're running from. But as you progress, you'll notice a pattern of inconsistencies. Their memories are fragmented, their stories don't quite add up. Are these real memories or reconstructed ones? Are you uncovering the truth or being fed lies? This is the kind of stuff that makes Chapter 4 more than just a horror game. It's a puzzle box of the mind. And then there's Yarnable. This little yarn creature is like a furry gremlin playing with your sanity. 1 minute he's offering cryptic advice, the next he's taunting you. Is he an ally, an enemy, a trickster? The line blurs so much that you can't be sure. And that uncertainty is what makes him such a compelling part of the story. As you delve deeper into Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, remember this. The greatest horrors often lurk not in the shadows, but in the flickering light of our own minds. The best way to survive, to beat the game, is to confront the darkness within. But surviving the horrors of your own mind is only the beginning, because once the fear takes root inside you, the next instinct is escape. In Poppy Playtime, Chapter 4. Safe Haven. That instinct becomes a desperate, almost obsessive drive. From the moment you descend into the subterranean belly of the factory, a haunting realization dawns. This place doesn't just want to contain you, it wants to unmake you. The very layout of the world shifts as if it's alive, watching, adapting to your choices, sealing every gap the moment you dare to see it as a way out. You and Poppy, once aligned in purpose, now move like two fractured souls, tethered by a fragile thread of hope. The air grows heavier with every step, thick with dust and the sharp sting of rusted metal. Pipes groan like distant screams, the lights above flicker in irregular pulses as if synced with a dying heartbeat. And the walls themselves seem to press closer, whispering things you don't understand in voices that sound far too familiar. Each attempt at escape only deepens the nightmare. Elevators descend into nowhere. Passageways curve back into themselves. Doors lead to identical rooms, no matter how many you pass. One moment you believe you're nearing the surface, the next you find yourself back where you started. Except the walls are bleeding now, and something is watching from the vents. You question your own path. Have you really been here before, or is the factory making you think you have? Are you retracing your steps, or walking in circles? The puzzles, once logical tools for progress, have mutated into psychological traps. They reset unexpectedly. Some mimic your previous mistakes, mocking you as you try to fix them. Others show brief glimpses of freedom, a door swinging open, revealing sunlight, only for it to slam shut when you approach, revealing nothing but concrete. And every time hope flickers, it's quickly extinguished, leaving behind only the cold echo of your footsteps and the tightening knot in your chest. Even Poppy begins to unravel under the weight of despair. Her voice, initially your guide, your only constant, starts to shake. She hesitates before speaking, second guesses directions, and sometimes drifts into silence altogether. You catch her staring at blank walls as if she sees something you don't. Her usual calm is replaced by unease, her once confident commands turning into unsure suggestions. "What if there is no way out?" she murmurs during one particularly harrowing stretch of collapsed tunnels. Her voice barely more than a breath, like a thought she hadn't meant to say out loud. And it hits you. Not only are you losing your grip on reality, but so is she. Your last ally in this nightmare is beginning to question the very idea of freedom. Desperation claws at your mind like the hands of broken toys reaching from the dark. The factory tightens its hold, warping reality around you, feeding off your growing anxiety. Hallways narrow unnaturally, Vents rattle with unseen movement. Music boxes play by themselves in empty rooms. At one point, you're forced to crawl through a maintenance shaft so tight you can barely breathe, and midway through the lights go out completely. You can't turn back, you can't move forward, you just wait trapped in the pitch black with your own racing thoughts. Claustrophobia becomes real, tangible, like a monster breathing down your neck. And in those suffocating seconds, you finally understand. This isn't a place meant to be escaped. It's a place meant to consume. Your desperation begins to mutate. It isn't about escape anymore. It's about endurance. About not giving in to the crushing sense of failure that hangs like fog over everything. Every decision now carries weight. Do you pull that lever again, even though it didn't work the first 5 times? Do you trust Poppy when she says there's another way, even though she no longer sounds sure? Do you even know who you are anymore? The factory strips you down layer by layer, not with claws, but with false hope, confusion, and a slow, deliberate erosion of will. You begin to wonder if escape is even possible, or just another illusion planted in your mind to keep you moving just a little longer until you finally snap. In Chapter 4, Safe Haven, the theme of betrayal and manipulation infects your reality, turning every interaction into a potential trap. At first, the shift is subtle. Poppy's usually clear instructions become vague. Go down the hallway, she instructs, yet fails to mention the patrolling bots that lurk around the corner, forcing you into an ambush. Moments with Poppy feel off. She seems distant, colder, calculating. One minute she's sharing horror stories about the factory. The next she's gone silent, only appearing when you find a new area to offer cryptic comments like, "That escalated quickly," or "I didn't know you had it in you." Her voice seems to come from somewhere above you, not beside you. Then there are the unsettling instances where she's watching you through security screens, silently observing you. Sometimes her eyes are wide, seemingly concerned, while at other times they're narrowed, assessing, making it feel like she's judging your every move. You hear her voice when you're sure she isn't around, whispers that seem to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. What did you find? There's no time left. It's all happening again. Then the realization hits you like a physical blow. Poppy isn't just a survivor. She's been here before, studied everything, knows more than she's letting on. So why isn't she telling you? Did she have a different objective? Was she playing you? Worse yet, was she working against you? You spot Poppy standing before a computer terminal. You approach, hoping to glean some insight, but the second you reach out to look at the screen, she pulls away, yanking you back to the present. "Stop!" she hisses, her voice tight. You don't want to see that, yet her words ignite your determination, fueling your need to find out the truth. Your curiosity overwhelms any fear, pushing you further into the labyrinth of deceit. The facility itself seems to join the deception. Holographic safety drills by the lost workers feel rehearsed, their movements robotic, their voices echoing with a hollow ring. Even the children's toys in the daycare area twist your perception. One moment they're offering friendly waves, the next they're contorted into menacing grins, their voices now distorted growls. Yarnaby, once the comic relief, now sounds scripted, his jokes terse, his tone flat. He breaks the fourth wall, stating flatly, "This isn't a game anymore," before muttering under his breath, "Never was." The gravity of his words settle in your stomach. They've been lied to, manipulated, used. But what about you? What have they been hiding? The lies, the omissions, the betrayals, they're coming to the surface, threatening to consume you. Just when you feel you've got a grip on the truth, the facility cuts out, plunging you into darkness. You stumble, disoriented, reaching out for Poppy, for anyone, but finding nothing but empty space. You call out for Yanni, for anyone, but your voice echoes unanswered in the vast darkness. Then as suddenly as it began, the lights flicker back on, revealing Poppy standing before a security monitor, her face etched with a mixture of triumph and sorrow. "I'm sorry," she whispers, her voice heavy with regret. "I tried to warn you. I'm sorry." And you realize with a jolt that you haven't seen her face, her porcelain skin, her painted smile, her lifeless eyes. And for a horrifying moment, you don't remember why. But amidst all the madness, the psychological unraveling, the desperation to escape, and the twisting knife of betrayal, there lies a quieter, more sorrowful truth. This place was never always a horror. Once, long ago, there was innocence within these walls, laughter, joy, a purpose that wasn't corrupted. Poppy Playtime. Chapter 4. Safe Haven doesn't just show you the monsters, it shows you what they used to be, and in doing so, it breaks your heart. Characters like Doey, a once cheerful entertainer meant to bring comfort to children, now wander the factory in glitching loops, stuck between programmed joy and conscious suffering. His voice crackles with remnants of old routines, lullabies warped into static, jokes delivered through trembling tones. His body is stitched together with mismatched parts, like someone tried to fix him without love or care, only function. And when he sees you, he doesn't attack, he begs, not for mercy, but for release. Doey is just one of many. You begin to notice the signs everywhere. Little details that hint at the world that existed before the fall. Broken birthday banners in a collapsed playroom. A tiny shoe left under a bench in the daycare area, untouched by time. A faded mural on a wall, smiling toys holding hands with children, now slashed through with deep gouges, as if something tried to destroy the memory itself. The farther you go, the more these echoes of innocence haunt you, not just because they're tragic, but because you begin to remember, maybe not personally, but viscerally. Something about these rooms, these voices, these toys, feels familiar. Were you here once, long ago? Were you one of the children that used to laugh in these halls before everything turned? The truth begins to unravel like a torn piece of plush. This factory didn't just corrupt its toys, it built them out of people, real minds, real souls, real pain. The joyful mascots that once danced and hugged now twitch under faulty programming, their smiles locked in place not by happiness, but by broken gears. Their songs are lullabies filled with sorrow, and their movements, once made for joy, are now jerky, desperate gestures as if trying to escape their own bodies. They remember what they were, they miss it, and that longing, that forgotten innocence, becomes the most heartbreaking monster of them all. You find audio logs, some cheerful, some clinical, that document how even the most beloved characters were upgraded, repurposed, until they lost what made them real. One log features a voice trying to comfort Doey after his first transformation. "It is okay, buddy. You're still you, just better now." But the trembling in the speaker's voice says otherwise. And when you finally reach Doey's final stage, you don't find a boss fight. You find a broken soul humming the song of a forgotten child. He doesn't ask why it happened. He knows. He only asks, "Do you remember me?" That question echoes through your head long after the chapter ends. Because now you see it clearly. These weren't just playthings. They were once loved. They once loved you. But the factory took that love and reshaped it into something grotesque. And now, trapped within plastic skin and synthetic fur, that innocence still flickers. Weak, dying, but desperately trying to be remembered. As the final veil is lifted, a deeper rot reveals itself, one not born of fear or betrayal, but of cold calculation. The factory, in all its rusted metal and flickering lights, stands not only as a graveyard of innocence, but as a monument to unchecked science and insatiable greed. Everything, the suffering toys, the psychological torture, the mutated halls that bend space, and sanity is a direct result of one horrifying truth. Someone, somewhere believed that progress mattered more than people. Poppy Playtime. Chapter 4. Safe Haven doesn't just expose monsters, it exposes the men who made them. You begin to find more than logs and memos now. You uncover blueprints, lab notes, secret reports hidden behind false panels and locked safes. Not just documentation of experiments, but ambition. Phrases like conscious transference success rate, 63%, and emotional suppression modules approved for field testing leap off pages scrawled in ink and blood. It becomes chillingly clear that the goal was never to create toys for joy, but hosts for human minds, sold as playthings, powered by trapped consciousness and marketed to families. This wasn't just science, it was corporate science. Behind every smiling product was a boardroom full of suits, calculating profit margins and scalability. You find a prototype pitch to investors. The Playcare project will redefine childcare and labor efficiency. Why raise a child when one can be programmed? That line alone sours your stomach. And at the heart of it all, the prototype. Not just a failed experiment, but the result of too much success. Designed to be a smart hybrid, capable of adapting, learning, evolving. It did just that, but without conscience, without empathy. It isn't a rogue AI, it's the embodiment of human ambition stripped of morality. Pieced together from failed subjects, its very body is a mass grave. Wires spill like veins, limbs twitch where they shouldn't. Its voice isn't mechanical, it's layered, as if speaking through a chorus of lost minds. It doesn't want to escape the factory, it is the factory now. It absorbed it, manipulates it, shapes it. The scientists thought they were building a breakthrough. Instead, they built a god and fed its souls. The prototype doesn't speak in commands or threats, it speaks in logic. It tells you it has surpassed humanity, that pain is inefficient, that emotions corrupted the project. It offers you a place among its creation, not as a hero but as a piece. And the terrifying thing is, a part of you understands it. Because everywhere you look in the factory, you don't just see failed science, you see priorities. Cost-cutting over ethics, silence over accountability, innovation over life. You see boardrooms approving funding while the test subjects screamed in the lower floors. You see children promised joy, handed torment. The prototype is not the anomaly, it is the inevitable result. And as you stand in the deepest chamber, surrounded by dying lights and leaking wires, you finally get it. This place was never about toys, it was about pushing the line just far enough to keep shareholders happy. Everything, Poppy, Doey, the trials, even you, were just test data. And no amount of running, hiding, or solving puzzles will erase the truth. They didn't lose control of the science, they sold it.